It was a Sunday, as I recall. It was quite a shock, and of course in those days no TV. I first heard it on our family. We heard it on radio. It was a real shocker. I often think about the treachery, that sneak attack, the devastation. I was in the Marines with Lieutenant Hogan, who had been aboard a cruiser that was in Pearl Harbor that was bombed. He escaped, fortunately, and then he was with us. But those were sad days. Devastation the Japanese wrought on Pearl Harbor, horrible.
December 7th, 41 was Pearl Harbor Day, and February of 42, I got drafted that quick. They didn't take me because I was underweight, but I didn't leave until June. So really, I didn't get drafted, get into service till June of 43.
I was returning from Fox Chapel at a party. It was rather early in the morning, and someone said that had a radio going, and someone said the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor. And someone said, where's Pearl Harbor? And they said, in the Philippine Islands. I said, no, can't be Philippine. It was in Hawaii. Oh wow, I didn't know much about Hawaii at the time, being pretty young, I think around 18 years old, and I knew it was out in the Pacific somewhere, but I wasn't quite sure where.
I was sitting listening to the radio when they first, the radio first came on, and with me was an uncle who was a lifer in the Army, and he was stationed in Hawaii. It's just one of those things, you know, and he told me right there, he said, if you don't like mud, he says, join the Navy.
And I was at home, and somebody came to the door, a woman, and said, you know, Pearl Harbor's been bombed. And I had no idea where Pearl Harbor was. And she said, do you know where it is? I said, no, I don't know where it is. And then she left.
I was either getting ready for combat or in combat. The 36th Infantry Division had 399 combat days when in Europe. And nothing infuriates me more than when I say I've been in Europe for 2 years, is for somebody to say to me, were you in Normandy? I said, no, I was getting my ass kicked for 8 months before Normandy even started. And we lost more guys at Raputo River than they did in Normandy, and yet you don't hear anything about it.
We went in. We were lying on our stomach, rifles up. And I'm talking to the Marine on my left. All of a sudden, he quits talking. I wonder, you know, how come? I look over, I found the reason. He shot, it's right above his left ear, went in real round. I looked out here on the other side of his head. There were shattered fragments of bone. Then, fortunately, we discovered the Japs were underground. and they were taking on the ground. They were aiming it. He could have aimed whoever shot next. He could have selected me. But fortunately, he didn't.
Now, one day, a suicide plane came in, and we're all shooting at it, and he makes a dive, and he hit the ship right behind us, which was sort of our sister ship, the 599. And that was one of the miracles of the war. Nobody got killed. He hit the middle of the ship and went down to the deck, to the bottom. And when they had the crews come in to clean it up, they found a 300-pound bomb that hadn't gone off. If it had, they'd probably been killed. Anyway, that was kind of a miracle.
A Japanese kamikaze motorboat, and they were very high-powered motorboats. It was loaded with explosives, and it came into the little bay and hit this ship, this wood-hauling ship amidships, and blew this ship up, and there was wood flying everywhere, all kinds of wood flying everywhere. Had we been on the outside, again, I would not be talking to you today.
The last day we ever fired a round was March the 23rd on our way into Germany, you know. And that was another thing. We borrowed tanks to go in there. We didn't ask the tank corps to go to lead us, to take us in there. Our little pea shooters weren't heavy enough to take over these pillboxes. So my battalion commander, he goes to the armored division, borrows 3 tanks, gives me 3 Sherman tanks. Boy, we thought we were in heaven, boy. We had these rifles, boy, that will take care of any damn thing. So Alabama and I decided to ride the first tank, firing the 50 caliber, standing on top of it. I don't know why we didn't ride the second tank. Well, we had to be on the first one. So March the 23rd, we took off in the morning to go in. We hit those pillboxes, and the engineers they had those, what they call alligator teeth, you know, those mounts, and they blew those things up so we could get close up. Within the first hour and a half, 2 hours, we had more prisoners than we know what to do with. We passed those pillboxes in the next time.
But our tanks were very nice to hide behind when we were being shelled. And we envied the tank drivers because they could just duck down inside, close their hatch. While I ended up I ended up 3 inches deep in a mud puddle when they began to shell. That's when we went back to get donuts from the wonderful girls that served us donuts.